Islamic radicals in the United States have traditionally set up shop in big cities with large Muslim populations, places like New York City, Dearborn, Michigan, and even Washington, D.C. But one secretive group is doing just the opposite. They call themselves Muslims of America. They've established compounds throughout the rural United States. Members say they moved to the countryside to lead peaceful lives, free of Western decadence. But others say that doesn't tell the whole story.
Certainly, when you're in a rural area, it enables you to better escape from the prying eyes of law enforcement.
CBN News consultant David Gartenstein-Ross says Muslims of America has close ties to a violent Pakistani group named Jamaat Al-Fuqra. Both groups are led by the same extremist cleric, Sheikh Mubarak Gilani.
Sheikh Gilani is an extremist figure, both known to be very much involved in the jihads against India, also very much known to be anti-Semitic.
Gilani's images and messages are all over the Muslims of America website. He founded the group during a visit to Brooklyn in 1980. Shoe bomber Richard Reed and Beltway sniper John Allen Muhammad are said to have been among his followers. Gilani encouraged his U.S. pupils, mostly African Americans, to move to rural areas and establish Muslim communes. The group now has dozens of these communes nationwide.
Al-Fuqra has compounds from coast to coast. They have compounds in Virginia, 2 of them in New York State, in California, in Colorado, in Georgia. And what this indicates is that they're going to areas where land is plentiful, where you can get land for relatively cheap prices.
CBN News visited the group's 45-acre site in Red House, Virginia, a town so small you can barely find it on a map. Red House, Virginia is as rural as it gets. There's no traffic lights, and the only signs of industry here are a pair of convenience stores. So when a street sign popped up named after a radical Pakistani sheikh, along with men and women dressed in traditional Islamic garb, locals took notice. About 100 people live in run-down trailers on the Red House compound. Members declined to speak to CBN News on camera.
We're just trying to, well, what's this? Wait, it's okay.
We tried to ask them about this sign in front of the compound. It's a symbol of the group's devotion to Sheikh Gilani. Gilani has been on U.S. intelligence agencies' radar for years. He's currently under investigation for possible ties to al-Qaeda. American journalist Daniel Pearl was on his way to interview Gilani in 2002 when he was murdered. The sheikh denies any involvement in Pearl's killing. CBN News spoke to a former member of Muslims of America who wishes to remain anonymous. Mustafa says Sheikh Gilani runs the group from Lahore, Pakistan.
He's the leader of the group. He's a former member of the Pakistani military. His father was one of the founding fathers. He has great connections to the Pakistani intelligence, the ISI.
Mustafa says Muslims of America serves as a cash cow for Gilani and Jamaat Al-Fuqra. Each member is required to send 30% of their income to Gilani.
He said that the 30% is money that God has chosen to take from you, and if you spend that 30%, you're stealing from God.
Group members hand-delivered thousands of dollars in cash at a time to Gilani in Pakistan.
Money got to Pakistan through the old elders who traveled to Pakistan. They carried cash with them, or they sent it Western Union.
Mustafa says Sheikh Gilani uses these American dollars to help fund the Taliban and other terrorist groups. Muslims of America compounds are filled with ex-cons from rough backgrounds. Many converted to Islam in prison. Mustafa says there's at least one semi-automatic weapon in every home. A local law enforcement official told us he's had no problems with Muslims of America in Red House, but the group has a long track record of violent activity on U.S. soil. During the 80s and 90s, members firebombed Hindu and Hare Krishna temples and assassinated 2 rival Muslim leaders. Federal raids on the group's Colorado compound in the early 90s turned up bombs, automatic weapons, and plans for terrorist attacks. And at least 3 members have been arrested on weapons charges since 9/11. Mustafa says the group raises money through a variety of criminal activities.
It's all illegal. If you're bootlegging videotapes, CDs, clothing.
In March, federal investigators broke up a multi-state counterfeit goods ring. Local residents tell CBN News that some of those arrested lived at the Red House compound.
It's all counterfeit movies, not sanctioned by Paramount or MGM or things like that. They're not legitimate.
Law enforcement sources say they're keeping a close eye on Muslims of America compounds.
One of the law enforcement officials that I spoke with was concerned that you could have a Waco-type situation.
But this video on the group's website shows the former head of South Carolina's FBI branch speaking at a Muslims of America-sponsored event in 2004.
It's indeed my pleasure and an honor to be here today.
As for Mustafa, he continues to fear for his safety, but he says he's speaking out because he considers Muslims of America a dangerous group. In Red House, Virginia, Eric Stakelbeck, CBN News.